Welcome to my sewing channel. We're gonna make a hand warmer and a pattern. We're gonna attach some applique. You can put on any applique. Need supplies. Use my affiliate link. I linked to Jersey Fabric. Hey, I'm starting with a song. Any NFL, NBA, NHL, they even have unicorns. Okay, I'll calm down and we'll make these hand warmers and I'll turn off the song. Okay, let's talk supplies first. You need a half yard of pre-washed jersey stretch fabric. You need a serger. It's okay if you just have a sewing machine, we can work with that. You need some kind of thread, but I did a decorative silver on the side. You could do a colored thread. Get creative here. Any NFL, NBA, NHL swatch. You could even do a little monkey face if you're making it for a child. Have some fun. You can do some elasticized trim. If you do some ribbon, just make sure it's elasticized. You can do any buttons. We're going to need tracing paper to make the pattern, and you can also use this tracing paper to make larger sizes and adjust the size. You need your basic sewing kit, pins, tape measure, a rolling cutter, iron, etc. And now let's get started. Okay, we're going to make a quick, easy pattern now with your tracing paper. First, take a pen and trace around your hand, but make sure your thumb is out at the angle I have mine here. Next, measure your wrist. Now we're going to take that measurement. See, I'm 6 inches here? Keep that in mind. And then also, I take my forearm measurement. So measure the width on your trace and compare it to the circumference of your actual wrist. So the way mine worked was, I had a 6 inches around, but my little tracing is 2.5. The 6 inches, we're going to cut 2 of these, so I need to know what half of 6 inches is. That's 3 inches, but this is only 2.5 inches, so I need to add a 1/4 inch to each side of the wrist. Piece of cake, right? And just do the same thing at the forearm, and you're all set. Now we're going to add our 5/8 inch seam. This is the seam that we'll be cutting off or ironing back if you're using a sewing machine. So we got to be sure to add that. And at the end we can trace it with another piece of paper and end up with a master pattern. Isn't that cool? A couple of notes on the 5/8 inch seam. Use dash lines for your cut lines. And on the corners, you don't want to measure straight off that dot, that black dot. You want to go off where the 2 other lines would intersect. So use a ruler and figure out where those 2 would intersect. And that's your cut line. Also, check my thumb area here and make sure it looks like yours. Now we're ready to cut. We're going to cut 4 of these out. It's good to just cut 2 at a time so you can fold the fabric over twice and cut it. You want to make sure the stretch line goes the wide way across your hand so that when you're putting it on, it'll stretch the most. It's time to sew, you all. Put on some good music and let's have some fun. Now, hopefully you worked out a really good design. We can go over that right now. We're going to do a test fabric. We're going to take a swatch and find the perfect settings on everything before we start on our cut fabric. We do not want to mess up our perfect cut by one mistake or getting an ugly seam or cutting off too much just because we have the wrong settings. So always do a test first, and then we're going to save that in our serger notebook. I actually have another video that you can look at which talks about getting the perfect serger setting and saving those settings, because it's really simple once you get them once. The serger pretty much stays the same. If you're new with sergers, just go ahead and do a simpler seam. if you get frustrated at all, I did kind of an advanced rolled hem here and a flat lock on the side, but just go ahead and do a regular 3 or 4 edge overlock. A 3 one would be fine. Okay, we are ready to construct. Finish the top edge. Do the finger area and the thumb area, but not the space, the little V between the thumb and the hand. And then also do the forearm, the end at the bottom. Now it's time to pin your fabric together to get the 5/8 inch seam. The thing to watch out for here is make sure you're going to end up with one left hand and one right hand, and also make sure that you've pinned the part that you want to be on the outside. Have those facing each other on the inside right now, because we're going to turn it inside out and it's actually going to be the inside that everyone sees. This part's really easy. Just iron your applique fabric, pick out the part you want to use. You do want to attach some backing fabric, and you can see here I easily sewed it on. I didn't go crazy putting stitches on there, but I put enough on there that it's going to hold it in place. But I put it far enough from the edge, it's going to add a little character. Also, I got the distress edging there by doing one solid line outside the perimeter of that white on the Golden Knights logo, and then I distressed the edge and took out the threads. You can get a really nice effect doing that. And here's the way I sewed. I have an extra layer of my stretch fabric cut to the same size, and I'm sewing the black stitches here in an area where it won't really show. So on the V, on the black here, and around the other area, and I'm keeping it off the gold and the gray so it'll look as cool as possible. Now let's try on your hand warmer, and when we do that we want to position the applique on there, pin it in the perfect spot on both hands, and then you can either hand baste it on, which I did because I like that. I can do it neatly, or you can sew it on. We still haven't closed the thumb area. I just have it pinned to help me position it. And I like to leave that thumb area open till right now after I've already basted on the applique. This is your final chance to get the perfect fit. If it's a little loose, tighten it up a little here, but don't overdo it because you can't unring the bell. I like to sew off that seam with the regular sewing machine because it's really hard to do an inverted V on a serger. It's just too easy to cut the fabric beyond where you want it to be cut, and you'll end up with a hole by your thumb. So with your inside out, make that final seam. So you did it. You made a hand warmer. Wasn't that fun? Did you love it? No, do you love it? Sewing is the best. You can make everything fit properly. You can pick the colors you want. Why is everyone so opposed to pink, these designers? It drives me crazy. So I make what I want, just like you can too. It's so much fun, and it's fun to pick out the fabrics and design it for yourself and surprise people you love with something custom. Let's do this. Sign up for my channel, subscribe, like it, and use my affiliate link. Also, there's a link to this music video in the description. Enjoy.